I never had a fortune or a trust fund. Never had a dealer cause I was one. Never changed the fabric I was cut from. Under my rug I was tucking one gun and a bunch of drugs. I got skunked drunk on the 8th of November, thought we were done, son. The night of the election when the Trump won. But never felt a punch I can't get up from. I'm a tough one and I don't judge the ones who never trusted me then. I treated some of my friends like dust in the wind, thinking that I had money to spend, but I'd be stupid and play when I have music to make. Look, you want a piece of the American dream? You better do like the powerful do and barely be seen. Spend 10,000 hours on your hustle degree and make the money disappear like it was nothing to me.
There is a jungle you can stumble into, America, with nothing and make it something, but there is kerosene and matches all around, smoke and fire clouds you'll barely see. The light that's meant to guide
Always had a chip above my shoulder, the only one who never had the code word. I had to sneak around to the back door where you were skipping rocks. I moved boulders till my back was sore, but I can make $1 out of 15 pennies. Lost souls I've seen many. Pocket change, chain, it gets heavy like a kettle bell. It feel like confetti, like kiss, kiss, bang. Nothing personal, it's just a business thing. I was on the train saying bye, bye, buddy. Well, you were waiting for whatever Christmas brings. You could kiss this ring. Listen, my lady tells me I got hate in my eyes, but I'm just laying low and taking my time. It's never too late, but y'all drink the Kool-Aid. Chasing a lie, but I just stay in disguise. Come on.
There is a jungle you can stumble into, America, with nothing and make it something, but there is kerosene and matches all around, smoke and fire clouds you'll barely see. The light that's meant to guide you. There is a jungle you can stumble into, America, with nothing and make it something, but there is kerosene and matches all around, smoke and fire clouds you'll barely see. The light that's meant to guide you.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're at. What's going on, guys? I'm definitely feeling a lot better. Still gotta get the stuff out of my system. Still coughing up a little bit, sneezing, all that jazz, but my throat no longer feels like it's being torn open. But just wanted to hop on, say hi, keep up to date a little bit more. Keep in touch. Let's go ahead and just start talking, I guess. Crypto Andrew, thanks for being first, buddy. Appreciate it, man. How you doing? What's going on today? BK, what's going on, man? Pratish, good morning to you as well. Good morning, everybody. So, first on the list today, as always, Bitcoin. Not much of a change since we last talked. The main idea being that Bitcoin currently is in an ABC formation to the downside, marked as here. Go ahead and zoom in, show you the levels involved. How do I turn off auto? I guess I just had to do that a little bit, right? Yeah. Trying to use the TradingView app. I've used it in the past, but it's a little bit different than the website version. But here's the levels involved. Let me go ahead and mark them out. So on our price indicator here, so 106.76. Now, it is starting to get to the point where the A and the C are a little bit too far away from each other for me to like have 100% confidence to like test that area as a long entry. I think we are starting to get into the territory where if, say for example, we are going to maintain a bullish standing long term, there is always the chance that we bounce here and we continue But is that like the highest likelihood? Probably not, just considering the state of the market. There's just not like a whole lot of hype within the market. Obviously that's a broad term, but essentially the idea comes down to, if we were able to kind of like maintain a higher level here, it could have been looked at as like a momentary spout of resistance and then maybe continue to push past. But with us coming down much further to this local low, what I expect to happen if we do happen to retest the upside, we would be looking kind of in this region here, between 109,000 and 108,000 as a rejection point. So that's where I kind of am a little bit hesitant. So at this moment in time, just preface everything. We are out of the long trade. I did take profit on that. That long trade was all the way from down here, at this level here, 76,629. And then we are currently in a short position based off of the macro ABC position. So obviously the kind of goal now would be, we watch out for any, medium to large long ABCs as a possible choice to hedge if things are going to continue to go up. So my thought process behind this is that I don't think this ABC is going to lead us to victory. All right, now you guys know me. I really don't care about going up. That kind of mindset has shifted over the years. What I do care about is being in whatever position is more likely to happen. Now, at the moment, that is the short position, but we do have a pretty strong uptrend here. But the issue being is we don't have any comfortable support below us. If the market does decide to reject, it's going to be a pretty fast fall here. So we kind of just might be biding time. But say, for example, we are going to maintain a bullish stance. Like I said, I do believe that the market will come back up and retest 109 to 108. And I think I'm gonna hold off. I'm not gonna enter the 106.94 position, me personally, because I do think that it's going to be very short-lived. I think that this ABC is going to have a bullish effect, but only back up to this region here for a retest, and then more than likely come back down. And if that does happen, 100% I will be playing this long position, just due to the fact that it is a more significant and more trustworthy structure. Entry point being here. Now, obviously, this is kind of like just going ahead of time. We don't know if this is going to bottom and come back up and retest here, but that's kind of what the market's looking like it wants to do. Like I said, with the current formation versus what obstacles we have in place. You remember, like, just think, like, whenever you need to kind of figure out what might be the most likely, think of the market as a tool to figure out the correct price of an asset. And if we just got rejected from the all-time high here, then on the short-term time frames, we probably would go like to double check. So we need to double check the resistance, and then obviously double check the downside. And then while doing so, if we build the correct support and then continue to hold that support, that might signal to people that, hey, we actually could push higher. So that's how I'm kind of coming to this conclusion here. So obviously, if we mark out the local lows that are involved in the uptrend versus downtrend here, so what would be the most likely to be used as support? It would be here, 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 and here. Obviously, this is the strongest, all right, because obviously this involves a gigantic local low, all right, but for all intents and purposes, this is all we're really working with. So, like I said, I don't have a whole lot of faith in these supports, but if they are going to be used, that's where it's probably going to happen. So this is the structure that I'm looking for if we are going to maintain a long position. Now, obviously, next phase of this would be an opportunity to get a slightly higher short position, because this might just be a kind of blow off top here, kind of like a fake out. because we definitely do have a very well structured, just singular A. All right, and then obviously if we create the structure to the downside here, that would then become our B wave, and then if we see results off of it that push us further, then obviously this would be the next structure that we need to pay attention to, and obviously I would be taking short hedge position there. And I think this is like a really good area. Like if all of this comes to happen, we would have the long position from a much higher point than we did down here, allowing us to, one, take profit on the original trade, secure that profit, open up the opportunity to downside profit, and then beyond that, if we do happen to continue for whatever, like if we really bust out here, then obviously we would have the long position from 103, and then obviously if this is kind of just going to fake everybody out, you know, get a whole bunch of long liquidity, and then fall back over with a lot more force, then obviously we would have the short position from 112,000. So that's my idea for Bitcoin in the future. Obviously, there's absolute, like from my perspective and the way I trade, there's nothing to do right now. You know, we have the short open. There is no comfortable long position for me to get into, probably for another like couple weeks. You know, if this was to really happen here, we'd probably be looking at about 2 weeks worth of price action before. You know, obviously, could it happen faster? Absolutely. It could definitely happen faster. We just have to wait and see. But yeah, it's gonna be a little bit boring for a second. You know, obviously, if we just straight dump to the downside, then not boring. Money. Go ahead and take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum definitely does have a very skinny ABC position going on here. We have now looked like we're collecting support off of the first local low within the trend. Obviously, Ethereum is in a much more dangerous position than Bitcoin. Bitcoin at least has some sort of like couple of different support levels on the way down. Ethereum has nothing. All right, if we lose 2,331, it's pretty much a straight drop all the way back down to the 1,700 level. And even that I don't necessarily feel super comfortable with. But yeah, there's a pretty big gap here where price action could slide. So like I said, I do think that Bitcoin is probably going to retest the upside. So it makes sense that Ethereum is finding support here. So what I expect to happen on Ethereum, if it kind of stays in line with Bitcoin, is, you know, we collect support here. We probably come back up and retest. You know, and say, for example, you're a bull and your whole thought process is that the market needs to trap bears. Well, right here, this would be building a head and shoulder. A lot of traders would look at this as a really good short signal. They would probably enter a couple breakout trades on the break of these supports. And then obviously we would have the ABC. And then if we can recollect this support here, that would actually allow us to possibly continue further to the upside on Ethereum. Now, beyond that point, like obviously it just becomes a little bit more convoluted here, but you know, that's kind of the idea of what could happen for the bullish side of things on Ethereum. Like I said, I don't care to either side. We have the short position because the market is giving us the availability. But if such and such was to happen, then obviously a long opportunity does open up and we can't just ignore it, right? So that's how that works. Litecoin, there's nothing like, obviously it has very similar setup to BTC in terms of A to B to C, but we are much further past the A to C here. So I, once again, wouldn't feel quite comfortable entering that trade, but it is there, and we saw what happened with Litecoin last time, so maybe that's just kind of what's in the works for Litecoin. You know, I would have to see something else. You know, it would have to be more of like a risky setup for me to kind of make do with it, because like I said, with Litecoin we have a lot more variance along these support levels. So you know, say for example, we had one more dip to the downside and we put in, you know, a B to a C on this wave, and we still collected support at this local low here. You know, if you wanted to take a smaller time frame trade and hopefully play it into the larger here, I wouldn't think that would be too bad, because obviously if we look at Litecoin as a whole, we're definitely looking at an A to a B setup, and the market, would like to believe, wants to at least retest this level here to confirm before we have any more major downside price action. So that's something to be aware of. All right. Obviously, this would be a humongous short trade, very well structured. So if that comes to fruition, that's definitely something that is on my list in terms of shorts for the future. But obviously, this could take quite a while for it to even get to that point. So we'll talk about that in the future. Greasy said, Kite, I hope all is well. It's starting to get more and more well. Like I said, I've been sick for like a week and a couple days. So it's been a little bit shitty, but I'm starting to get better. You can probably still hear it in my voice a little bit, but I'm getting there. Greetings from Faroe Islands. Hopefully that's how you pronounce it, but how you doing, man? What's going on? Is that the Denmark flag? Forgive me, I'm a stupid American. I don't have a lot of flags memorized here. No, the Denmark flag is red, right? Yeah. So I thought, because it's the inverse. You have like the red striping in the middle, and then you have the white on the outside. So it's basically just the flipped image of this. Let me see where the Faroe Islands are. Let's see. Whoa. Man, you're out there. That must be a incredible place to live. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even know that existed. I didn't know people lived out there. Do people live here? I'm sure there's somebody on that island. Okay, so I mean, I was kind of in the right zone. At least I don't feel too bad. Imagine trying to run from the police on an island like this. Where are you gonna go? You know, crime must not be a thing out there. Because, like I said, where are you gonna go? There's nowhere to run to unless you got some money and you can leave through the airport. But that's pretty sick. Cool place to live, I bet. Willie Coyote. Hey, Kite, long time. Hope you're well. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, you know how we work. You know, long spouts where we don't talk, but I always come back. Always come back. Johnny, yes, papa. Niraj, hopefully that's how you say it. How you doing, man? What's going on? Pogo stick, yo, what's up, Austin? Nothing much, just hanging out. Figured I'd hop on and talk about the boring price action. Give people my future thoughts, my crystal ball. JDA on the macro time frame has been putting in this macro ABC. It's just, it's hard for, when we were in the time period back when I was talking about KDA, it's a lot easier for me to kind of keep on top of it, because I don't feel bad if anything happens. But once again, I just get this feeling that we're just not going to get the bull market that we thought we would hope so. And, coins like KDA, they need that in order to flourish. So, I mean, it was a huge risk to reward play. Just unfortunate how things kind of worked out so far. But I don't regret it. It's still something I keep in mind for the future. But, I'm not going to continue talking about it, because I don't want people to get too much false hope and throw too much money at it. Once again, it's all about risk to reward. And unfortunately, The reward has not been had yet. The XY still has this macro ABC going on the daily chart. So maybe there's going to be a turnaround here, which obviously would not be fantastic for BTC, because obviously they're somewhat inverse. But we do have, you know, obviously the macro ABC here, which could influence whether or not we continue to stay in a downward trajectory. But it doesn't seem like price action is really like well respected that, so we'll see. Once again, this is the long level. This is the short level from a macro perspective. Does ABC work on Euro to USD? Euro to USD. Sure, we can find an example here. I mean, just on the daily chart, we have an A to a B to a C. So if we do happen to dump back below this level, that would be your shorting point. Let's look on the weekly chart here. We have obviously the macro structure A to B to C. This would be your long level. So far it's worked out. So right now, I mean, on the weekly chart for Euro to USD, you would actually have a hedge position with a short here and a long here. You can see in the past there's been a couple good instances of ABCs working out. We obviously have actually pretty much every single one of these. I'm going to be honest. You have the ABC to the downside here. So you would go long, and then you have the ABC to the upside here. You would go short. Now, obviously, this is a little bit more of a struggle. I'm not saying just like short that point exactly. You can see how much variance is along that level. So it looks a lot more dangerous than something like Bitcoin. But you can see it's definitely working out. Obviously, this structure here did not have a compatible ABC for a trade, but we had one here. ABC, short position. And obviously, to the downside, we had A, B, and C. Long position. You can see a very small, like thin ABC here, but like that's not something I would trade. Just doesn't look appetizing to me, but it's there. Once again, small, thin ABC within this uptrend. I wouldn't trade that. But yeah, there's a good couple instances of it, and then obviously like right here, you know, in the larger B wave, we have an A to a B to a C, and then within the B wave of the B wave, we have an A to a B to a C. So it looks like there's actually plenty of opportunities within Euro to USD to trade ABCs. Rodrigo, he said, "What the heli? Helicopter, helicopter." Do we even have music playing? Oh, I think I closed it when I brought this up. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it when it comes to the market. All the major coins, at least. Like I said, you know, there's not a whole lot to talk about for like probably the next week or 2 weeks while some of these structures form and we kind of figure out what we're going to do from here. I see you too, Rodrigo. Why haven't you tried any prop firms, Kite? You get decent capital if you pass the challenges, right? I actually had a prop firm reach out to me for a sponsorship the other day. You know, and I told him no, that I don't think it's a good fit for my channel. Frankly speaking, and you know, some people, when I tell them this, they are upset because it breaks their worldview. Now, I mean, obviously, if you know the honest truth of what's happening, but you still want to participate, I guess there's something to be had. But the reason why I don't use prop firms, support prop firms, is because they are fake. Like, plain and simple. Now, is that to say that you won't actually get paid out real money? No. All right. There's plenty of out there that make enough money where they can afford to pay out people that are making, you know, a small amount on trades. But, you know, point me to one legitimate person that is consistently cashing out $10,000 a month from a prop firm. You will not find one. And if you're referring to a YouTuber, I can argue and I can show you prop firm sponsorships that they have given me proposals for, where they will give you a fake account. Prop firms prey on the idea that a newer trader who can't afford, you know, they look at the market and they go, you know, with my $500, if I made 20% a month, then, you know, it's going to take me years to get to a point where I can quit my day job. So the prop firm sells you this idea that you can trade our money for us and we'll give you a cut of that. All right. But, you know, you can only have so much drawdown because we don't want to lose our real money. It's not real money. It's fake money. None of the trades you make in a prop firm actually hit the actual market. You do not have any actual real effect on price action. Prop firms basically sell this idea to people who are desperate, that they can get a $20,000 account. They go, well, if I, you know, make $4,000 profit on a $20,000 account, which isn't that crazy to do, well, then I get, you know, the prop firm says that they're going to give me 50% of that. So then I make $2,000. All right. That's just not real. Like I said, they actually might pay you out, but it's not coming from the profit of a trade. It's coming from the dead corpses of all the people that tried to pass the tests before you. That's what prop firms are. It's a graveyard of broke traders. And then the people that are lucky enough, because don't take this the wrong way, it is luck whether or not you pass those tests. You're basically feeding on the dead corpses of those bodies. So, you know, say for example, they charge you $90 so that you can do the test, okay, and take the challenge. And they try to make it sound like all courageous, like, you know, you're making a step in the direction, you're trying to do something nobody else has ever done, you know, and they try to make you feel good about what you're doing, but all you're doing is basically throwing money at the void, because all of the limitations they set up for you along the way, max drawdown, having to make at least one trade a day, there's so many things and barriers that they put in your way that are not conducive to a healthy trading style. All right, they are trying to make you trade in a way that will equal eventually that max drawdown, so they can force you out of your account, and now you have to take the test again. They go, oh, you know, you failed last time, but you could do it again. You just have to pay another $90. Or maybe it was just you didn't have enough money in your account, so if you pay $180, we'll give you a bigger account next time, and maybe this time you won't screw up, so pay us $180 this time. Just think about that logically for a second. If you were a real bankroll, why in the world would you want a trader that just lost you 7% of their allotted income from your bankroll? Why would you want them to come back? Well, that's because the money's fake. It's of no consequence to the prop firm that that money was lost, because there was nothing lost. So that's the issue I have with prop firms. Now, if you understand exactly what is happening, and you have, you know, the understanding that if you start making too much money, they will shut your account down because they have no legal obligation to you, then sure, if you want to go make a couple $100, I guess, do what you want to do. But don't be surprised that if you start for whatever reason, actually make a couple trades that make some real money, they go, hey, you know, we'll pay you out 500 of the 2,000 that we owe you, but we're going to have to shut your account down. It's happened to a lot of people I know. All right, because they're good traders and they can kind of get past those tests despite the obstacles. But even with all that, they'll still shut down your account. So, like I said, I've had conversations with people in the past that are prop firm believers, and when I tell this to them, they get angry and tell me I'm wrong. I check in 6 months later, they aren't doing the prop firm anymore, and they don't want to talk about it. So, that's the answer to why I haven't tried any prop firms. Because, you know, let's be honest, if it was a real world scenario, you would be looking at something like JP Morgan and being one of their floor traders. All right. Now, they do have stringent drawdown that you have to uphold to, but like you would be a licensed trader working under a proper firm, and you would be adhering to their rules, and their rules are a lot stricter because they are trading real money. But they also don't force you into bad situations to hopefully get you to hit that drawdown. That's the difference. And they give you like, you know, pink sheets and all that kind of shit, where they get like, they have analysts that work 24/7 that are amazing at their job to figure out what is more likely to happen. So therefore, when you trade, you have a better chance of walking away. Like there's a team behind you when you're in an actual firm, like giving you, you know, tips on stocks for the day that you should be aware of, and you know what they think is going to happen, and then you can trade around that with good risk management. You have like a significantly higher chance of winning on the day versus a prop firm, which their whole goal is to get you to fail and then rebuy the challenge emission. So, you know, like at the end of the day, if you want to be a trader and you're starting with $500, it compounds, man. It's not going to take you, you know, your entire lifetime. All right. Will it take some time? Of course, yeah. But with leverage trading offers an amazing opportunity. But once again, that's because it's real. All right. There's a real side to it in terms of risk to reward. All right. Leverage trading. All right. In order to amplify your reward, you have to amplify your risk. Now, we try to strive to do that as safely as possible, but it's never, you know, 100%. So leverage trading allows someone with $500 to at least have a fighting chance, where if they do it correctly, you know, give it 2 or 3 years, the compounding is going to be pretty drastic. You know, I know it seems like forever, but it's really not. And it's better to do things properly the first time and do it with your own money, because then you'll have real emotions. And the emotions are what make winners versus losers. Good to see you streaming again, bro. Been a long time. Hope all is well with you. You as well, Duper. What's going on, man? You said check breakout on Bitcoin? Or is there a coin called breakout? It's live environment. Oh, you're trying to defend a prop firm. Is that what you're doing? This one, breakout prop. Yeah. I was talking to somebody else the other day about this. You know, oh, it has Trustpilot. That's one of the issues with regulation capitalism, is they can throw stuff like on their website, so it gives people a good idea. But like I said, man, it's if you understand what's happening, I don't care what they show me to say that it's a real environment. I don't believe it. Because if it was a real firm, you would not be allowed to buy back in. All right. If you lose JP Morgan Chase a fuck ton of money, they're not going to be like, hey, you know, you failed last time, but come back, old buddy. Come back. So the fact that that is a feature of these websites is more proof for me. Yeah, see, like this is what I get to take 90% of the money when you bankrolled me 100% of the account. Like that's fake. Right? If a prop firm came out and said, "Hey, you know, here's the hefty price," like that's the shitty thing. Like it would cost more, but I would believe it more. If a prop firm came out and said, "Hey, you know, pay us $1,000 to bankroll a 10K account as insurance," you know, here is a very stiff drawdown. You don't, you know, and then didn't have any like the barricades. Like you don't have to trade daily. You can trade at your leisure. But you know, here's the drawdown for the account. It can only be a maximum of, you know, what you put into the account. So say 10%, and the gain is inverse. You get 10% of any profit made off the account. If that's how they set it up, then yeah, I would be more inclined to believe that it's a real prop firm, because the numbers make sense. The drawdown is equal to the investment on the part of the person who is being bankrolled. The profit split is proportional to what you put in, all that kind of stuff. But and then the advantage would be it would allow you to make larger margin trades, you know, and obviously take advantage of stocks that the price is a little bit higher. So you would actually be able to buy, you know, like 2 or 3 stocks rather than versus your one that you might be able to afford. So if I saw a prop firm like that, then maybe. But that's the problem. No one's going to buy that because it's not appetizing to a, you know, retail trader that has $500 to trade with. It just doesn't sound good to them. So it won't exist because it's not profitable. Well, it would be profitable, but the problem is that no one would buy it. Everybody wants the quick and easy. Oh, I pay $50 and now I get a $10,000 bankroll and I get 90% of the profits. Oh, that sounds so good. I'm not saying that the chart isn't live. Like you can trade Bitcoin in real time. What I'm saying is it's not hooked up to an actual exchange. It's all paper trading. That's what I meant by live. How would you start of now if you were trading $1,000? Would you go 1 hour ABC to collect more R&R or stick to a higher time frame? Knowing everything that I know now, I would just stick to the higher time frame, and then that would allow you to have more security. So therefore, you might be able to use a little bit larger risk, so maybe like 3 to 5%, as long as you're not trying to enter in off of like tiny patterns. And then just a slightly larger stop loss so that your win rate is higher. And then after a good couple months to a year, you should have like, 6 or 7 good swing trades under your belt. So now your account's worth like, 4 or 5 grand, hopefully, after a couple rounds of compounding. And then, yeah, at that point, now you have $4,000 you can keep in the swing trading portfolio and do things as you normally would do. And then you can take 1,000 and then go start on the smaller accounts, and start trading the back and forth on the 1 hour and testing the waters with that, but then always still have the fail safe. Or, I mean, you can just, take 900 or, 250, use that for the smaller time frames, and then use the 750 for your swing trade. It's up to you how you do it. But I would prioritize the swing trades before scalping. Scalping is to add small amounts to the portfolio, and then it's like a cyclical system. It's all laddering into the larger portfolio anyways. Said BTC be mooning? Not really. Not really. If you guys want to go and trade demo accounts for prop firms and pay $500 to do it, give that money to me. I'll show you how to trade a demo on Bybit for free. Great. Yeah, listen, money is a game, and if people are willing to pay for the service of a prop firm, I'm never going to hate on those people. I'm not going to call someone like, just a straight idiot and then like disown them for being a part of the prop firm. But that does not change my answer on prop firms. I don't care what YouTuber, I don't care, if it's a friend of mine or a family member. I will always give my honest opinion on prop firms. But like I said, I mean, it's a risk to reward option. If you don't plan on making tens of thousands of dollars with a prop firm, technically, yes, they will pay you out, but don't expect it to be a long-term thing. And, it's once again, those barriers forcing you to make 1 or 2 trades a day, max drawdown per day, such and such. Like, there's so many things they will put in place. And so don't be surprised when your account falters. It's a lot harder. If you think regular trading is hard, do not join a prop firm, because they make it harder on purpose. They want you to go ahead and rebuy the challenge, refill the account. And if there's a YouTuber that is pulling out tens of thousands of dollars from a prop firm, it's because they're sponsored by the prop firm. Either one, they're giving that money back to the prop firm after showing it on video of them pulling it out, or they are making the prop firm so much money that the prop firm has flagged their account and has no problem paying their money, that $10,000 out, because they sold 600 packages for $100 each to all of his subscribers. So they already made their, $60,000. So what's 10K going to this YouTuber? Nothing. And just to reiterate my point here. I will read you the email from the prop firm. Oh wait, it's on my phone. I'm not logged in on my computer. Hold on. Where did this email go? Okay. So the email was fundyourfx.com. Right, so this is the prop firm. And once again, the first, like, any website that the first thing you see is Trustpilot or Better Business Bureau, and then it shows you stars, that should be a red flag. When you go onto Facebook.com, you don't see Better Business Bureau. When you go to YouTube, you don't see Better Business Bureau. When you go to Amazon, you don't see Better Business Bureau. All right, you can go find it. All right, because it does exist. Every like registered company does need to have a Better Business Bureau account or something like that. All right, but it's not a selling point. All right, so this is the website. He said, you know, I'm blank. Let's see. I grew my personal trading channels to a combined following over 700,000. I left social media to start and grow my own marketing agency, which I successfully managed for 2 years. I recently joined the marketing team for fundyourfx.com, a top Forex crypto and futures trading prop firm. We are lucky to recruit trading content creators such as yourself to create truly engaging and creative content around the platform to help promote it. We can offer you the following: unlimited $100,000 funded accounts to be used for viral content creation and marketing. Parentheses, no withdrawal, but still great for content and viral video creation. Weekly 2-phase 10K account giveaways to your audience. All you have to do is like, comment, and subscribe to your channel. And then I would receive 20% of all money spent on the challenge costs. And then they just kept reaching out over and over and over again. I finally just responded. I said, I'm sorry, I don't think prop firms are a good suit for my channel. Best of luck. But yeah. Is it any different from Fimex offering bonus money too? No, because that's just like an extra thing. And it's honest too. Like you actually get that money. Now I don't know if the bonus money is directly withdrawable, but you can use it for trading. And it's never anything like crazy. All right. It's just to get people's foot in the door and get them using their exchange versus somebody else. Every exchange does it. It's just like when you sign up for a bank and they offer you 0% APR for the first 12 months. All right. It's just to get your foot in the door. So, you know, Fimex, for example, exchanges want trade volume. So if they can give you a boost to make you more confident in using quote unquote free money, then they're going to do so. So if for the small cost of allowing you to have a trade bonus of $50, $100, $150, which is nothing significant to them, well, then that gives you extreme confidence to start trading on their platform. Now, they're not nefarious. An exchange doesn't care whether you lose or win, whereas a prop firm, their ideal scenario is you losing. All right, that's the difference between a Fimex and a Fund Your FX. All right, they are a neutral party. They want you to trade, but they have no interest in whether or not your trades are winners or losers. They just care about trade volume. Kite, you still use the same setup as you always have been, 1% stop loss on BTC. No, as I've gone a little bit further into swing trading rather than trading like 1 hour time frames, I've been starting to use more of like a 2% to 3% stop loss with like, a 2 to 5% risk depending on the asset and structure that I'm trading off of. Because the trades are a lot longer in length, so therefore I want the payoff to be higher in terms of the risk I put in. But then obviously when the structures are larger, there is more variance in those supports and resistances. So I need a little bit larger stop loss to make sure I'm not getting stopped out too much. No one said feet, Monk. No one's showing their little piggies. You said MSTR. Okay, so I'm assuming you're talking about MicroStrategy. There's nothing like immediate in terms on the daily chart. We did have the ABC to the downside here, which price action definitely kept busting through over and over again. Did we have a lower low? So we did have a completed ABC on the very bottom here. So that would have been a pretty decent entry to be in at the moment. The next couple of steps would be watch out for the retest of this high here. And then obviously on the macro, the retest of this high here. So you would have a sell position with a stop loss and a sell position with a stop loss here and here. But there's nothing like immediate to be aware of with MicroStrategy. Now, obviously, those are both pointed up here. Now, I mean, we do have an A to a B. So if we do end up putting in the higher high here and topping out, we definitely could come down and retest the previous resistance with the length of the C. And then that would actually be a pretty good entry point for the foreseeable future. If we come back down and retest this level, and then you re-enter on the reemergence above this support level here, if that does end up holding, that's actually a very, very decent place to be in for the future. The last macro ABC was all the way down here. We had A to B to C, and this was the last like notable macro long position, and you can see how far we are from that. From that entry point, you're looking at 2,800% within the last 2 years. It's actually not bad. That's actually nuts. So, yeah, maybe maybe I keep an eye on this structure here. So, if you got your eyes on MicroStrategy, Jimmy, and this structure right here happens, and we come down to 232, and you see me on live, you let me know. All right, because if I don't remember, I'm gonna be sad. All right, because that is actually decent if we get that structure. Akiroi said, bro, I get your point. Prop firm, just do B booking. But the thing is if we are profitable on live, we can trade on a prop firm too. There is this guy I know, like a distant friend. He made so much. But he did get banned on the firm in the end. But that doesn't matter. He made a lot. How much? Did he disclose that information with you? How much is a lot? Because the thing is in my opinion, when it comes to traders, they love to show their winners. They hate to show their losers. So, you know, I'm not discrediting your friend, but what I am saying is he probably didn't pass the challenge the first time. Who knows what kind of account he went with? Did he go with the base level? Did he go with the most expensive? Did he fail more than once? So like, yeah, maybe he walked away with, quote, a lot, but in my opinion, you can do more with a regular account, and you can do it at a pace that allows you to not have huge setbacks. So like I said, these prop firms, they put in place, you have to make so many trades a day. You know, they are forcing your hand to do stuff. And can you have luck? Sure. But in my opinion, the only real luck in market trading is when you can be patient enough to wait for the correct setup. And a lot of the times, these prop firms, they don't make that easy. So I can't sit here and say that just because you're making money trading swing ABCs, that you're going to be profitable on a prop firm, and you should go do it. That's just irresponsible of me to say. So, like I said, you can get paid out by a prop firm, but to make it worth your while, that's a different story. Murdering Monkey in the chat with a $2. He said, showing my support for Stinky Kite. Don't do it. I'm not your vroom vroom. I'm not your vroom vroom piggy. Thank you, Monk. Thank you, Monkey. And I hate that empty feeling, you know, after I go on like a long tangent about a certain subject, and there's that like, you know, 5 or 10 minutes where there is no other subject being brought up, and we're just kind of sitting here. So I already did my long tangent about frame generation the other day. David Tech, what's going on, man? How you doing? It has been a very long time. I'm doing good, man. Just keeping on the path of straight and narrow. I've had some unfortunate events over the past year that set me back mentally, but you know, other than that, I've been decent. How you been doing? Line drip. Balloon. Balloon tower defense? You thought balloon was well, that's because I was playing too much balloon tower defense. So it like warped my mind. All right. I do remember that. That was pretty good. That was a good one. Any theories as to why we probably won't get a proper alt season this cycle? I just think that the hype has died down because altcoins rely almost strictly on retail pricing. And although I do think that retail has picked up in terms of like, but it also has it's picked up in a different way as well. It's like on stream the other day, I talked about my cousin Colby, a lawn care provider who has absolutely no idea about crypto. So definitely would consider him retail, you know, bare bones retail. Obviously, we are still retail as well, but we're obviously a little bit more deep in it. But for him, he just knows Bitcoin and Ethereum and Dogecoin and stuff like that. But even he knows, without me like extensively telling him to stay away from meme coins, he knows it's not a good idea. But with Bitcoin, when Bitcoin put in this structure down here, he messaged me at 80,000 and he was like, hey, is now a good time to buy? You know, I saw it's gone down a bit and I really think, you know, I want to put some money in. And I'm like, actually, it's actually a really good time to buy. I probably would wait to see if it goes below 76,000. If it gets down to 76,000, you should go ahead and throw some money in it. And he was like, all right, cool. And he did that. And so far he's sitting pretty. So I'm sure there's countless other people like him out there that are starting to get a more and more proper idea of how to use crypto effectively and not just throw money at the wind at a shitcoin. That's me talking about meme coins in particular, but stuff like XRP or KDA or Cardano or Monero, you need a very strong attractor for retail, which is a very aggressive bull market where people have the sense of FOMO, for them to want to go on YouTube and look up videos on stuff they can get into, because they think they missed the boat on Bitcoin. So that's when they start getting introduced to the other side of crypto, which is coins that are reputable, but don't get like limelight coverage. And we just don't have the market to really put people in that situation. So even though they might still be aware of Bitcoin and they might still be aware of Ethereum, they don't mess with anything else. Still in contact with Ryan. Ryan reached out to me after my mom died. But other than that, I haven't heard from him. He's a Rumble guy now, and you know, he's gone more political side of things. So you know, it's you know, it kind of you know, I'll talk politics, but like I'm not a political commentate YouTube type person, so we just didn't really click after that. You saw him in Dubai? That's pretty sick, dude. I think he went viral. Yeah, I'm sure he went viral, but maybe not for the right reasons. But yeah, I hope he's doing well. I have nothing against him, and he just, you know, he's got a son, and he's trying to make social media a way to pay for, you know, his kid and his kid's future. So it is what it is. You know, I don't really blame him for wanting to go in a different direction if crypto YouTube wasn't paying the bills. There's nothing wrong with that. But obviously it does kind of distance us because there's not much for us to talk about outside of that. You know, it's obviously a big age gap, and you know, just don't share much hobbies besides crypto. That's what kind of put us into contact. I'll give you a subject to talk about. I ended up taking the trade on BTC at 76,000 to the upside. I missed the short at 109,000. How can I get a better ABC? How can I get better at ABC? I saw the big 1-day chart ABC, but waited for a 2-hour ABC formation. You know, it's not. I don't necessarily like think you're wrong for that. If you kind of did what I did with Litecoin. But with Litecoin, that's an altcoin where there's a lot more variance in the supports and resistances. With Bitcoin, I tend to have a lot more trust in it. So I was able to just go ahead and enter. And you do have to remind yourself, in the end, what's the goal? The goal is to have more money than you had before. So if the overarching factor was you didn't want to get stopped out too much, well, one, you should have a little bit more faith in Bitcoin. And even if you do get stopped out, look at the range. All right, if we get rejected here, and this is the actual ABC that's going to be playing out, then the realistic target would be the bottom of the range. So the R&R on that is going to be ridiculous depending on your stop loss. So if you did get stopped out 2, 3, 4 times, but then obviously this trade comes to fruition, and after you're riding off of the profit from this trade, you should have a little bit extra oomph in your account just in case you do get hit here into the next trade. All right. You shouldn't be, it's like I said, it's like a restaurant. Sometimes you have to buy the ingredients to make the pizzas. Is every single pizza going to get sold? And are the ingredients going to be wasted? Probably. So, just treat it like that. Don't be afraid to throw some shots at the wall. Now, like, once again, you actually did get a confirmation, by the way. So, did you miss that one too? Because the resistance is here. And then you can definitely see a 2-hour confirmation here, if that's what you were waiting for. So, I mean, it was there. So you kind of had the right idea, but you didn't have to go that route. Pogo Stick, have a great day, man. I appreciate you being here, buddy. I briefly saw. He said, "Oh man, I'm really sorry. I didn't hear about your mom. I didn't realize." Yeah, it happened July 12th of last year. So I mean, the holidays were really hard, but obviously when there's nothing to make me think about her, it's easy. It will never be easy, but hopefully you get what I'm trying to say. He said, yeah, I think he had a bodyguard and everything. That might not be a bad idea. I'm sure there's a lot of people that take politics a little bit too seriously and would do something ridiculous. Curious, let me see, what is he up to? I haven't looked him up for anything recently. I see the Ryan Matta show. He's got 200,000 followers on X. Let's see, what's his... Check out what he's doing on Rumble. He's got 10K followers on Rumble. He streamed 1 day ago. Actually related to crypto as well. Talking about El Salvador. Yeah, I wish him nothing but the best. You know, I have a bad habit, you know, over the years, because of the way my trading style has changed. Um, you know, there's just these long spouts where there's really nothing to talk about when it's related to crypto, because obviously, like, you know, I'm not really here for the buzz. You know, I don't pay attention to a lot of the noise with other coins. You know, I care about pretty much Bitcoin and a little bit of Ethereum, Litecoin, and you know, maybe once in a while I'll take a look at, you know, an altcoin seriously. But other than that, like, there's usually like sometimes a month or 2 months between certain positions where, you know, it's just I just don't want to like take up people's time. You know, I don't want to hop on here and just talk about frame generation for video games for an hour because there's nothing to relay info about the crypto charts. But you know, every once in a while I'll come back for a while even though there's nothing happening, and I'll touch base and answer questions and all that jazz. He said, how's Fish? Fish is doing fantastic. He's doing really good. Are you saying you gave up on the Pussy Project? Yeah. I mean, if you go back and you watch the video, I very plainly say, or at least try to drop some hints, because I didn't really know how much I was allowed to say, that it was a meme coin, and that, you know, if you make money, get out. And then obviously, like, I was very transparent when I got the signal from the person to sell. I relayed that to the Discord immediately. But essentially, it never really took off, but there was a particular artist that I was in voice chat with a lot, that relayed the information to me that Diplo and T-Pain and some others were going to start that coin, and that I should get in because this same artist, you know, tried to talk to me about crypto and tried to tell me to get into SafeMoon when SafeMoon just started, because it was a scam. I mean, I think everybody knows that at this point, that SafeMoon was a scam. And he was in that inner circle with Diplo, T-Pain, all that kind of stuff, where they were in the know. They were told to do this and this, and they were going to throw money behind it to get the marketing out there. And then obviously SafeMoon did crazy things. So, you know, during one of our conversations, I asked him, I was like, how did you know about SafeMoon? Because when I think he told me, SafeMoon was at like a $200,000 market cap. So I was like, how did you know about that coin? And then he came clean, and then he was like, well, if you want in on our next thing, it's going to be this coin called Pussy. So obviously, me trying to be a good guy, I went and immediately told my you know, crypto family, you guys, and tried to beat the system, you know, play against the big guys, which unfortunately did ruin my relationship with that artist, probably because I never heard back from him after, you know, everything was said and done. But you know, I don't think I was supposed to put the information out there. That's what I'm trying to say. So maybe me letting the cat out of the bag, ironically, too early, prevented that coin from doing anything that it was supposed to do. What was the name of the horse one? That was like Zen? Was it Zen NFT? That one was actually really cool. Now, obviously, like, I just have a certain opinion about NFTs, but like, at least it was like, it didn't try to like do anything extravagant. It was like, hey, here's digital horse racing. All right, you want to gamble? You can gamble, and then you can also own the horses. I thought that was unique. That it wasn't trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. It was like, you're here to gamble. We're gonna give you gambling. So that I trusted a little bit more. Srini, what's going on, man? This is my benefactor. Is that the right word? And me and him have been in chat last couple of days. Like I said, with the message I sent you, dude, I, you know, over the last couple of days, I was able to kind of just like figure out the compatibility issues. So, I mean, like I said, if it's not an issue, I would really appreciate it. If not, I'll just go buy that stuff out of pocket. But I have to get a new case in order to fit the card, and then CPU cooler and a power supply. So that's why I sent that updated list. But I'm gonna keep pretty much everything else. I'm keeping the CPU, the motherboard, all my other stuff. But yeah, once again, I don't know what to say about that, man. That is really cool for you doing that. I've been so excited all week. I've just been looking at like benchmarking videos and all that kind of stuff, and you know, just been daydreaming. I did see I saw your Discord message come through while I was streaming. You said 2.5. Is that the number that you're willing to do, or is that the date? I don't quite understand. Sorry, like I am trying to not like. I'm trying to make sure that I am as grateful as possible. So I'm just trying to make sure that I don't come off as too eager, because I have no right to it anyways. David Smith, hey dude, been a while since I popped in. How you keeping? I've been doing good, man. I've been sick last week or so, but I'm definitely getting better. And other than that, just been relaxing. Gotcha, man. No issue. I can get the stuff out of pocket that I need to make it all work. Tell us about your love life, Kite. Oh, there's no love life. Did you get rid of the car? Yeah, we ended up getting rid of it. I just, you know, I didn't use it in the way that I was supposed to. So, like, for me, like, it's just, why even have it? How's the single life? No different. Like I have friends that if they're not in a relationship or not pining after some girl, it's like they're a lost puppy. For me, like it just never really bothered me. Like yeah, if something comes along, I'll put the effort in, but it's just not something that like I particularly like. Life is empty without it, so it just never really bothered me. Yeah, I didn't want to fall into like the rich person trap of like owning expensive things without really having a necessity for it just to have it. And then especially like where I live, like that's just a lot of property tax for no reason. So like if I just need a car to like go to the store or do stuff like that, then why am I going to have something that crazy when it's going to cost me $2,000 a year anyways just for it being in my driveway? Like that's just a stupid aspect. Now if you live in a place that doesn't have property tax, I guess maybe you can get by that, but I missed this PC case in Win Z Tower. Is this it right here? That's pretty sick. I mean, it would take up most of my desk, but it's a pretty sick case. The case that I was looking at is the, yeah, I can pull up my cart for everything. Yeah, so I'll make sure it doesn't show my address on here. But yeah, this is the case that I'm gonna grab so that I can fit everything. Because the case I have right now, the issue is it's a smaller form factor than this, and there's a 360 millimeter radiator on the front right here, which wouldn't allow me to fit the card. And as well as that, the power supply that came with that pre-built is missing all of its cables because they didn't supply it with it. And you're not supposed to buy aftermarket cables unless it's an adapter, because then you can end up frying your parts. So I got everything all listed out, so I'll just go ahead and hit the order on those parts so that when everything comes in. Yeah, I do DoorDash every now and then. It helps get me out of the house, helps pay the bills. Because I'm in no rush, I am afforded like a pretty good opportunity where like DoorDash, the problem is that if you're in a desperate situation, you're going to end up wrecking your vehicle. But if money is not like a super big issue, you can take the orders that make sense to do. So if someone's willing to pay me $10 for 4 miles worth of driving, that means I make a pretty hefty profit. Well, not hefty, but at least I make a profit on the vehicle. Whereas if I'm taking a $4 order going 5 miles, all right, that's a 10-mile trip total. And when you add up the cost of gas and maintenance costs on the vehicle, you're looking at roughly 40 cents for every mile that you drive. So if I spend, $5 to get the food to you and maintenance cost and gas, but then I only get $4 on the receiving end, well, then I just lost $1 delivering food. That's the issue with DoorDash. But if you know how to do the math, and all that kind of stuff, it can be an actual very profitable job, just depending on where you live. Obviously, if you live out in the sticks, you're not gonna probably have a great time. But if you're in like a decent suburban city, or something like that, where there's not like a lot of traffic preventing you from getting a lot of stuff done at once, then yeah. The ABC still working well? Absolutely. We actually just came fresh off of a long trade on Bitcoin from back here. We had A to a B to a C. Obviously, we tried to enter here at first, but it didn't end up taking the first time. Obviously, we built a larger structure, so I just moved my entry down to the new largest A, and then entered down here. And we've been in that trade for like a month and a half, 2 months. Yeah, about a month and a half. And just recently got out of it. I just gotta get my spark plugs replaced in my car, just to make, I just have been having slight troubles in my car recently. Yeah, bro, it's thanks to you that to your streams that I'm still in crypto. I appreciate it, man. It was really cool collaborating with you back then, because obviously at the time, I still was trying to figure out ABCs. I kind of knew, I knew what I wanted, but then obviously it was more of like using it to figure out all the nuances of how to hedge trade properly, and more so like the emotions with the larger trades, how to work myself through them. That was the real difficult part, because ABCs in themselves are quite simple. It's really the other aspects that really make the strategy. So I didn't get wrecked in the first bull market thanks to you. Was that just due to the fact that the first bull market ended in an ABC, so you're like, all right, we go short? Dude, when this happened, I was still like figuring out ABCs for myself, while also trying to help other people figure it out, because I knew it worked, but I didn't know to what extent. I didn't know how powerful it was. So when I saw this ABC, I went, there's no way the entire bull market ends in an ABC and that's it. Now, fortunately, I did catch the wave right here. I shorted back into this one right here, and then was able to compound my way into the bear market. But I essentially missed. Well, I think so I did take a short up there, but I didn't hold it. I think I took profit like right there. So I ended up missing like all of this price action right here. This like last wave. So I missed all of that because like I just didn't think it was that ridiculously powerful. So I mean, once again, we're kind of in the same situation. So I'm taking the short position and I'm holding it. All right, until we get another macro short position for me to get out and reset the trade, I'm in it. So, I'm not making that mistake twice. So, something to be aware of, for sure. What car do I own currently? I got a Mazda CX-3. It's nothing special, but like I said, gets the job done. And you know, I just got the radiator fan replaced and all that. It's having like a little bit of a rough start, and there's just like a weird noise with it. So I'm thinking that maybe the spark plugs are starting to go. Like the car still runs, and there's no problem with acceleration, so I don't think they're fully gone. But there's just like a slight engine noise that doesn't seem normal, and then the car like takes an extra second or so to start up, and it doesn't sound good. So I think it's the spark plugs. I hope it's the spark plugs. So that's what I'm going to replace next on the car, which I got 80,000 miles on it. So between 60 and 100,000 miles is when you're supposed to replace the spark plugs anyway. So you sold everything on that AVC. Did you do the correct thing and buy back here on this one? Because this one was correlated to this local low here as well. So we had local low here, 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 and here. So you have macro ABC along local low of uptrend versus your downtrend. That was, dude, that's beautiful. That's beautiful, David. That's what I like to hear. Absolutely. And I feel like there's a coup going on. Everybody's in talks trying to make me feel good to come back to streaming regularly. Because Serini, he the other day, you know, absolute amazing person, just decided to gift me something ridiculous after letting me know that, you know, I really helped him. So I appreciate the kind words, David, for sure, man. It definitely makes me feel good and want to stream more. But I feel like there's a secret messaging group going on that I'm not aware of. My heritage trip is getting over around the 10th. I'll be back to my city by the 11th of June. Let's plan on that very same day, Kite. Absolutely, man. I really look forward to it. And once again, thank you. Like that's, you know, I can't say thank you enough. Because if it wasn't for you doing that, I probably wouldn't be upgrading any of my computer for probably like another 3 years, just out of principle. You know, obviously, like I've been looking at these cards and these monitors, you know, for a while, but it's just like you know, even though I have money to get these things, I'm trying to practice a better consumer mindset of, you know, making sure that I'm getting the most out of what I buy. But obviously I can't say no to what you offered. So, you know, I truly appreciate it. He said, no secret group, mate. You just help a lot of people. That makes me feel good. You know, what makes me a bit angry sometimes is knowing what I know now, is how much I missed out on in the past. You know, because like now that like the switch or the eyeglasses that allow you to just like use ABCs are on, it doesn't matter what market I look at, whether it's Apple, the SPY, the US 100, NASDAQ, you know, Bitcoin, Ethereum. I see them everywhere, and it doesn't matter what market it's happening in. They always seem to work out. Now, obviously, is it always in the way that you want it to? No, but it does. You know, in terms of eventually work out in a way that makes sense. And obviously, as time goes on, I get a little bit better and more patient at waiting for certain structures and not jumping the gun. But like, it still blows my mind. It's almost like, you know, there's someone out there forcing the chart to look like this as like a bat signal to other investors of where the big money sits. You know, you can almost get into a conspiracy about it, but you know, obviously we don't do that here. I used to follow your quotes, sit on your thumbs and let the trade run. Honestly, one of the best things I taught myself. Cause like everything that like I shout at people about, it's because I do it. You know, when I tell people like stop being an idiot and just let the trade do its thing and be patient enough to wait for the next available setup to get out, it's because there's been so many instances where I get the perfect entry, but then I screw it up because maybe the chart went a little bit too sideways. And I thought, you know, maybe I should pull my profits here. Or what if we don't get an ABC where I can exit my long trade and compound, or, you know, whatever it might be. But then every single time we have gotten an available exit. Every time. So, you know, I just told my brain to shut up. Told my hands to stop touching the keyboard. I bet, man. Like that, was that like your like what's your magnum opus? Well, I guess magnum opus is like your final song, I think. But like, was that like your intro trade? Like the trade that like really like set you up? Because I mean, that was a monster, an absolute amazing trade. And I am so grateful to be a part of that in any way. You know, and he gave me permission to show it off last time. I want to toot his horn. All right, not because of the money involved. Even though that is amazing. All right. I don't care if you did this with, you know, a large portfolio or a small portfolio. It's the trade itself that is the difference between a regular person and a real trader. I'm bringing it up right now. I just gotta find. Yeah, so this is Srini's trade. So it looks like he used about a little bit less than $10,000 worth of margin. I don't know what leverage you're on, but he entered at 25,321, and he held that trade. What was the current price? He held that trade until 102,000 with a net profit of 734,000. 658. So you entered down here off of this ABC. And you held it till the very top. Dude, that is so commendable. Like the balls it takes to hold on to that is nuts. Because not only did, because that's the thing. Like if we just had one straight shot up, it would have been a different story. It would have been like, yeah, you did fantastic, and it still deserves commendable respect. But like you held it through all of this and waited. That's the difference. You said the actual money at risk was 9.6K. So I see used margin here, 9.4 thousand euros. So I'm assuming you were willing to risk all of your margin? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, I got another friend right now that's kind of like you, David. He likes analytics, statistics, and he's a coder. And you know, he's kind of getting interested in all this. But obviously he likes to see the math. So over the last couple of days, he's been pulling data from charts because you know he needs his brain to wrap around it in a certain way. Gotcha. Big boy trade. That's awesome, man. Like, really, congratulations. And hopefully, you know, with this new short trade coming up, there's more to be had. Hopefully that account is going to compound like crazy. Yeah, but like I said, Sereni, what I'll probably end up doing with the money you're sending, I'll be able to get the system fully upgraded to be compatible. It'd probably be about a month before I can get the monitor in. But once I get all that in, I'll send you the final pictures and of how I got everything set up. Just so you're a part of that process. You can be happy and retire now. No, I think he just got a taste of what he wants. I'm sure he's going for the big move. There, Tech. Kite, I gotta go, mate. It was good to see you again, my friend. I hope you will be back soon. Absolutely. You know, I'll be keeping in touch for sure. You as well, buddy. Have a good day. Well, I guess it's like 9 or 10 p.m. over there. So, have a good night. Took out 500,000 already. Diversified my investment basket. Bought a property for my sister and put pending buy orders at BTC for 75 to 55K and 45. My man's got to figure it out. That is what's up, man. I'm very happy for you. Hopefully life just keeps getting better. There's so many more years of trading this price action. Like I said, the best thing that can probably happen for people like us is, you know, Bitcoin does what it does or has been doing. And we get these nice long ranges back and forth where we can take advantage of that price action. And then maybe every couple years, yeah, maybe we get another burst to the upside, you know, make our time more worthwhile. But for me, I think that's what it's doing is probably the best case scenario for me. But in just a couple minutes, I'll probably head off here. It's been almost 2 hours that we've been on live stream here. And I honestly only meant to be around for maybe about an hour. Oh, I didn't say it, but thank you for the super chat, man. I do appreciate that. Yes, Kite, do share a small video once you upgraded. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I can do that on live stream as well. Like I said, it's gonna be I'm gonna get the computer set up, and then in about a month, I'll get the monitor ordered. Let's see, hold on, because you know I don't want to pry too much on how we're gonna do things, but I'm assuming that you're gonna send over crypto. I'll exchange it on my side of things. So I'll probably end up paying probably about $100 to $200 in exchange fees. I'm not quite sure how much they're going to charge me. So I'll have just enough to get the GPU and the stuff to make it compatible with my system. So after that, I'll save up a little bit and go ahead and grab the monitor myself. So that way I can take advantage of all that extra power. And then once I got everything nice and neat, I'll do the setup tour on live stream. you know, I'll definitely let everybody know it would have not been possible without you. And who knows, maybe with that kind of power under the hood, I can, you know, start doing gaming streams a lot more often. So that even though when I'm not talking about crypto, people still have easy access to me. Because, you know, when I'm not, you know, out working and getting some sunshine, I'm usually playing something. It's really cool to see David Tech. I haven't seen him in so long. And you got it like that. You got you got you got someone you can send my way. I mean, we'll figure it out, you know. Whatever's easiest for you. Obviously, you're the one that's going out of their way to do this. So I'm, you know, however you want to get this done, I'm not choosy. As much as I do respect everybody here, there is something to be said about, you know, just keeping my private residence private. Because I do know there's a couple subscribers that actually live within the same 30-mile radius as me. Obviously, they don't know exactly where I live, but they know I live here. Which, I mean, obviously, like, there's been thousands of live streams where I've probably shown on a map my general location. But you know, when you got a lot of crypto in savings, there's always a risk. Because obviously they can't ever get into my wallet, but they can always do something to make me give up my wallet. So that's the risk. Yeah, I would figure it would be a crypto transfer. One, it would be fast and efficient, you know, and obviously it wouldn't require you to cash out anything out just for this purpose, which, you know, I don't know what taxes are like over there, but you know, like I said, I would cash it out through like Coinbase or Kraken. It would take a little bit in exchange fees, but you know, that's not not an issue. Like I said, you're making it so cheap to upgrade that I can pony up the rest of the money that's needed in order to get everything else done. Your location was visible in Snapchat before. Were you stalking me, Pratish? You were stalking me on Snapchat. I'm not sure if our tax system works like that. I know that if I send somebody $10,000, I can write it off of my taxes as a gift. But I don't think the person who receives it can write it off as a gift. I think they still have to pay taxes on that. So what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna cash out whatever money you send my way for the upgrade. I'll probably put away like 10 to 15% of it, just in a savings account, just for taxes, and then the rest of it I will use in combination with my money to get the upgrades. Yep, let's go over the chart one more time before we go ahead and head out today. Pratisha said, yeah, kinda. Just kidding. Pratisha's gonna show up at my doorstep one day. So, like I said, Bitcoin is in a position where we are, kind of at a top here. If we don't surpass 109,324, we probably will be expecting at least a retest towards the bottom of the range at 74,000. Now, me personally, I don't necessarily think it's going to get all the way down there just yet. I do think that we might have some sort of formation here coming up where we're in an A on the medium time frames. I do think we might make a B coming back up and retesting this previous resistance. And then obviously the C to the downside will be used in the future, if it does happen, as a possible long position to see if we will continue a little bit higher here. Now, obviously, my hope would be we put in the higher high off of the actual trend that we're currently in, and then we use that as a short position in the future. And obviously, if it doesn't hold, we have the long position from down here. And if it's just a fake out trying to draw in liquidity, then obviously we get a higher short position, and then everything comes toppling over. And then who knows what the future holds past that point. We'll just have to keep up to date with it. Ethereum, once again, looks like it might do the same exact thing. We would be looking for a short position around here in the future. And obviously a possible long position down here, but might not want to spread myself too thin. And then obviously Litecoin definitely looks like an A to a B situation. Nothing really to partake in on the move to the upside. As of now, maybe might not getting anything else. But, it looks like it wants to go ahead and put in that ABC top here. And then maybe, just maybe, that turns into a larger A to B to C structure. And we get something coming back down. Who knows? So, I'll try to keep up to date with you guys. I'll try to stop in every couple days, or when I'm just, feeling the urge to talk to you guys. And, I'll try to make sure that I keep on top of anything, major that I do within the Discord, just to make sure everybody's informed. But besides that, I really appreciate your time today, guys. This was kind of one of the longer streams I've had in a while. I do feel better, in terms of sickness. So, I'll try to be around more often, but it's not going to be a for sure thing. I still got life stuff that goes on. So I appreciate your time, everybody. And, I'll see you when I see you. Go ahead and we'll do some sort of outro song today. We won't just end it on a whim here. It's a good option here. Maybe something from this album. I like Cadillac Bandit. Sereni, I appreciate you. I look forward to chatting with you when we get closer to that date. Pratish, as always, one of the OGs, man. I appreciate you as well. Dex, thank you for being here, man. That's actually my nephew's name as well, which is a really cool name, by the way. I don't know if that's your real name, but his name isn't Dexter. His name isn't, short for anything. It's just Dex. Pretty cool dude. O10, good to see you as well. All right, everybody. You guys have good nights, good mornings, good evenings, afternoons, wherever you're at. And I'll see you in the next one. All right, guys. I appreciate you. Bye.
The chair. For real though, they be getting double my streams and somehow still broke. I be keeping track of who I dap and who I elbow. I'll reconsider. Get rich and die richer, present them and leave bitter. B.I.B.I. Who got the keys to the key? Whoa, let it rain, let it snow. Steady my propellers and boats. I'm ready with umbrellas and coats, cause I can't stand the cold.
I wish I had a brand new caddy, baby sitting right by daddy. I wish I had time, enough time to spend a life worth living again. I wish I had a fortune teller, would've brought a black umbrella. I wish I had you, cause you made me see the man that I could be.
Second verse, turn a mess into another lesson learned. Let it burn. Left turn in my drop Chevy, I'm gone. Bumping Nicotina and Tom Petty when young. Who got the key to my Winnebago beat? Feel the bass, let it breathe. Sammy Huckleberry, baby, unapologetically me. Rocking the same clothes. My hoodie black, my chains gold.
Wish I had a couple more dollars. Wish I was a little bit taller. Wish I had a ride, I'd pull back the roof. Nothing like Seattle in June. I wish I wasn't getting any older and I had a better head on my shoulders. Wish that I slept and put to rest the creature living under my bed.
You just like me. You ain't no different. You just like